Good morning! Welcome to Sunday Morning Announcements with the Jocelyn Gray Avatar. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, please subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, say hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person, hello everybody here! And if this is your first visit, please sign the guest book either in the lobby or online at oakcliffuu.org/guest. A reminder! Every Sunday morning at 9:30, one of our board members is available to answer your questions about the church. We hope you take advantage of this opportunity, either in person or online via Zoom. Today, we have a special Religious Exploration Sunday for all ages, as Leah Pittmon takes the pulpit with inspiration from our Universalist heritage, Hosea Ballou, whose childhood curiosity blossomed into an influential Universalist ministry. There will be a blessing of the backpacks for all ages, and be ready for crafts that might get a little messy. Coming up after the service today, the UUCOC Board of Trustees will meet at 1 p.m. in person in Cherry North, and online at tinyurl.com/UUCOC-2024-board meeting. The meeting is open to all. And Jazz Jam is this afternoon in the sanctuary from 3 to 5 p.m. Come play, sing, or just listen. You are welcome to bring food and drink for yourself or to share. Admission is free, though there is a tip jar for the musicians. Coming up this week, the Social Justice Ministry Reading Group's new selection is Palestine, Peace Not Apartheid by Jimmy Carter. The group meets online Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Questions? Email Mavis at sjm@oakcliffuu.org. Next Sunday, it's time for Rest and Reset. We'll gather at 10 a.m. for a potluck brunch and conversation. And then all are invited to a Reclaim Our Vote nonpartisan postcarding party. We've partnered with the Texas UU Justice Ministry, which has partnered with UUA, which has partnered with the Center for Common Ground, a nonpartisan Black and woman-led voting rights organization. All needed materials will be provided, including scripts, names and addresses, and snacks. A few of us may also be taking this opportunity to work on plans for our booth at the Pride in Dallas Vendor Market and Parade on September 15th. We're excited about this grassroots event in Oak Lawn. Watch for info on booth setup and staffing. Want to help? See Emma or Kathy. And thank you to all who contributed to our booth fee. You all rock! Remember, all this and more is in your eBlast newsletter. Not receiving the eBlast? Just sign up at oakcliffuu.org/enews. It's that easy. Have you signed up but still aren't getting the eBlast? As our tech guy Scott says, don't forget to check your spam folder and make sure that news@oakcliffuu.org is in your contacts. One more thing. We have 3 member birthdays coming up this week. Happy birthday to Tyler Pittman, and happy birthday to Kiani Smith, and happy birthday to Debbie Tao. That's it for now. I hope you all have a great week.
Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this gift. Welcome to the UU Church of Oak Cliff. Here we seek to build a community where what you believe is less important than how your beliefs guide and inform your participation in the world. Ours is a community that strives to value the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. To our returning visitors, we are so happy you have joined us again. We know your time is precious, and we're honored to have you here today. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to any who are joining us for the first time. We recognize the bravery it takes to come into a new place and we're glad you're here. Ours is a covenantal church, Latin for come together. Covenant means a solemn agreement or promise from the heart regarding a course of action between parties. The practice of promising to walk together is the core of our faith. Simply put, it is a guide for the behavior we expect from ourselves and each other. We are bound together by the promises we make to one another, and we recite our covenant during every worship service. Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together.
Porque nos amamos uno al otro, honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación. Así que hacemos pacto.
In our community, we take time each week to share what is in our hearts and on our minds. If your heart is heavy today, know that you don't have to carry that heartache alone. Together, we can offer comfort. Please share your sorrows publicly by posting them in the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joy calls unto joy, amplified. Together, our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. Please share your joys publicly by posting them to the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud. All right, now that we've shared all our joy, we have a special program today. Leah is doing an intergenerational lesson. We're honoring any kids we have had and will have and hope to have in our program here today.
So as you can see, everything is set up a bit differently today. I have been for a number of years one of the primary volunteers in the youth religious education exploration range. And unfortunately, since COVID, we really haven't had any younger ones with us. But I just want to share with you all the sort of experiences that we have been privileged to have over the years. And this is one of my favorite stories. I'm going to give you a little bit of history first before I go into the actual RE story. And you'll forgive me, too, if my thick Texas accent comes out and I'm pronouncing any names strangely or anything like that, because I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. But we're going to go with Hosea Ballou. He was born in 1771, and he was the 11th child born to his parents. Hosea's mother died when he was only 2 years old. And he was mostly homeschooled by his father and only attended school for short periods of time. His father was a Calvinistic Baptist, But as a teen, Hosea was convinced by Universalist minister Caleb Rich to convert to Universalism. Caleb Rich also introduced Hosea to the woman he would marry, Ruth Washburn. Hosea was heavily influenced by the writings of Ethan Allen, yes, the American Revolutionary hero, and Joseph Priestley, the first Universalist minister in America. Hosea came to believe that the scriptures should be read with reason and therefore rejected the Trinity doctrine, becoming Unitarian as well as Universalist. This meant that he believed that Jesus was human, chosen by God to preach of God's love for humanity. In his most famous book, A Treatise on Atonement from 1805, he rejected the belief that the death of Jesus Christ was a sacrifice to an angry God. He also asserted that God wants all humans to be happy. Hosea was a member of the community which drew up the Universalist Statement of Faith adopted in 1803. This statement already reflects the influence of Hosea's Universalism. He published a weekly newspaper, the Universalist magazine, for many years. He also wrote for and published other Universalist journals, along with his second very important book, An Examination of the Doctrine of Future Retribution, in 1834. In this book, Hosea Ballou argued that humans are rewarded or punished in this life, and therefore all were welcomed into heaven upon death. One famous quote regarding this belief was, "Your child has fallen into the mire, and its body and garments are defiled. You cleanse it and array it in clean robes. The query is, do you love your child because you have washed it, or did you wash it because you loved it?" Hosea Ballou also wrote against capital punishment and supported the anti-slavery movement. He also argued for the separation of church and state. He died in 1852. This is a story about his very early life, and you can already see the sparks of universalism in this young child. Having been that his mother died when he was only 2, his older sisters did a lot of the heavy lifting of the work of helping raise him. This comes from the Tapestry of Faith religious education curriculum online, and it's by Janine K. Grossmeyer. From A Lamp in Every Corner, Our Unitarian Universalist Storybook. Over 200 years ago, in a small town, in a small house, on the edge of a forest of very big trees in the state of New Hampshire, there lived a small boy. His name was Hosea Ballou. Hosea, just like other children, liked to learn and do new things. He was always asking questions about what and why and how. And just like other children, Hosea liked to play. He liked to play hide and seek with his 9 older brothers and sisters. 9? I thought he was the youngest to 11. Anyway, he liked to play word games inside when it was rainy, and he liked to play tag outside when it was sunny. In the winter, he liked to jump into snowdrifts. In the summer, he liked to jump in the creek. In the fall, he liked to jump into leaf piles. And in the spring, why, spring was Hosea's favorite season of all, because in the spring it would rain and rain and rain, and then Hosea could jump into the mud. Hosea, just like other children, loved mud. He liked it when it was soft and squishy, and he liked it when it was thick and sticky. If it didn't rain quite enough, that wasn't a problem. Hosea would carry water to the dirt and create glorious mud puddles all of his own. He liked to poke sticks into the puddles and see how deep the mud was. He liked to make mud pies and to build mud dams. He liked to jump in puddles hard with both feet and make the muddy water splash really high so that it splattered all over his brothers' and sisters' clothes. And he loved to step in puddles very slowly so that the mud oozed up just a little bit at a time between his toes. Yes, Hosea loved mud. Now, you can imagine that not everybody in his family liked mud quite as much as Hosea did. His mother had died when he was not quite 2, so his older sisters took care of him. His sister, who did laundry and scrubbed the family's dirty clothes in big wash tubs, didn't like having to scrub all that mud off of Hosea's clothes, or off everybody else's clothes either, after Hosea had stomped in a mud puddle extra hard. His other older sister, who kept the little children clean, didn't like having to scrub all that mud off of Hosea. And Hosea, just like other children, didn't like having baths either, especially when it meant he had to stand in a wash tub in front of the fire and have water dumped over his head. But his sisters loved him, so they took him home and washed him and dried him and made him clean. Then Hosea's sisters went to their father and said, "Father, please tell Hosea to stop playing in the mud." Remember, this was a Calvinist minister. "Hosea," said his father very sternly, "you should not play in the mud." "Why?" asked Hosea, because just like other children, asking questions was another thing he loved to do. "Because," said his father, who was one of the preachers in the Baptist church the family went to, "just as we try to live a good life, to be kind to other people, and to follow God's plan, we try to stay clean." "Yes, Father," Hosea said, and after that day he did indeed try to stay clean, but it wasn't easy. He stopped stomping in the mud puddles on purpose and splashing the muddy water everywhere, and he stopped making enormous mud pies, but sometimes the mud was just there. Then he had to walk through the mud to get across the yard to gather the eggs from the chickens. He had to walk in the mud to feed the pigs. And sometimes, when he was already muddy from doing his chores, he played in the mud just a little bit and got even muddier. His sisters, who loved him, took him home and washed him and dried him and made him all clean. But Hosea's sisters went to their father again and said, "Father, please tell Hosea to stop playing in the mud." "Hosea," said his father even more sternly, "you must not play in the mud." "Yes, Father," Hosea said. He was sad because he truly tried not to get muddy most of the time anyway. "Are you very angry with me, Father?" "I am disappointed in you, Hosea, and I am a little angry with you." Hosea hung his head and kicked at the dirt with his toes, and then he dared to look up just a little to ask, "Do you still love me?" "Hosea," said his father, and his father didn't sound stern anymore, "I will always love you, Hosea, no matter what you do." "Even if I get muddy again?" "Yes." "Even if I get really, really muddy?" "Yes." "Even if I get mud all the way up to my eyebrows and between my fingers and toes and in my hair?" "Even then," his father said with a smile, and then he added very sternly again, "But remember, Hosea, you must try to stay clean." "I'll remember and I'll try," Hosea promised, and he did. He stayed clean most of the time anyway. As he grew up, he stopped liking mud quite so much, but he still liked to ask questions about what and how and why. "Father," Hosea asked when he was a teenager, "how can it be that our church believes that God will only let 1 in 1,000 people into heaven, even if many of those 1,000 people lead good lives?" His father didn't have an answer to that question. "Father," Hosea asked, "if I had the power to create a living creature, and I knew that the creature would have a miserable life, would suffer and die, and then go to hell and be miserable forever, and I went ahead and created it anyway, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? And would I be good or bad?" His father didn't have an answer for that question either. Hosea had to find his own answers. So he read the Bible, a book with many stories about religious people and about God. He went to some Universalist churches and asked more questions there. At the age of 19, Hosea decided that he believed in universal salvation, which is the idea that everyone, everywhere, everyone in the universe will be given salvation. Eventually, everyone will be saved from hell. And not only did Hosea believe that God would let more than 1,000 people into heaven, Hosea believed that God would eventually let everyone into heaven, good and bad. "How can you believe that?" asked his father. "How can you believe that God would let bad people into heaven?" "Because, Father, I remember what you told me when I was small. I believe that even if God is disappointed with people or a little angry with them, God will always love them and want them to be happy, no matter what they do and no matter how muddy they are." So, on the tables, there are several copies of a picture frame, and it has some little questions and statements around the sides. And the idea here is that you will draw maybe a portrait or representation somehow of yourself. It doesn't have to be a portrait. I'd probably be drawing a stick figure if I was doing it. And then you're going to decorate it with mud. There are small cups that have a little bit of dirt. Came out of a bag from Home Depot. Didn't come out of my yard. No piggy doo-doos in it. And the popsicle sticks. And you can add just a little bit of water from the glass that's on the table and make your mud thick or thin or sticky or however you want to do it. Maybe you just want to put just a tiny bit of water on the paper and then put a lot of dryish mud, anything like that. But just a representation that the divine wants the best for us, no matter how muddy we are, and no matter how we try to do our best and still fail sometimes. And we're going to work on that maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll do our back blessing and all that good stuff. All righty. Anybody that's not finished, you can keep working. We're not going to take your mud away from you or anything. I'm not a Calvinist. But I am going to go ahead and move to our backpack blessing. So whenever Scott lets me know he's ready, Scott says go. All right. So if we had a whole bunch of smaller ones, we'd have them like bring all their backpacks up to the front. But if you want, we can just set them on the tables, and I can bring the little tags around. This blessing coincides with the academic year, but we recognize that all of us are continually learning. While this blessing is especially for children and teens, anyone who desires a blessing for the upcoming year, just set your bag on your table or what have you. Whether you attend traditional school, homeschool, unschool, grad school, school of life, whether you have a backpack, a briefcase, a gym bag, a purse, or an invisible backpack, we want to bless them all. These words are provided by Karen Johnston, minister at the Unitarian Society in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Even when you are away from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, you carry the heart of Unitarian Universalism with you wherever you go. May you feel curiosity all your days. May your imagination catch fire. May you find courage when it is necessary. May confusion lead to better questions. May you feel compassion towards those around you and they towards you. May you feel heard and seen. May you hear and see others. May you speak up for those who are not heard, who are not seen. As your spirit's home, we are made stronger when you share what you learn. We ask you to bring what you learn of the world back to this place. And so if you agree, say, we will. We will. All right.
Okay, that was fun. I don't know about y'all, but I loved that story, and I'm no artist, but I had fun. In the interest of brevity, we cut this service short, so we had time for our activity, but I need to mention that the offering basket, instead of being passed, is back there on the table with Sherry. If on your way out you want to drop something in there, if you are putting something in towards your monthly pledge, put your name on an envelope so we know who it's from, please. We're going to extinguish our chalice. Be true, be well, be loving. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Extinguimos este llamo, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
We have a song that we sing after talkback every day. It was traditionally sung as our children left the room with us. we were having a children's service today, so we thought we would sing that song now.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you